these politicians, both sides, Democrats and Republicans. And I'll be honest with you, I'm a Democrat, but they have f***ed us over for the last 40 years. And for once, and not all of them, but for once, we're standing up as a union, probably the only one right now, saying, what the f*** have you done for us?
Yeah.
And I'm getting attacked from the left, and we've given, since I've been in office 2.5 years, we've given the Democratic machine $15.7 million. We've given Republicans about 340,000, truth be told. So it's like, people say the Democratic Party is the party of the working people. They're bought and paid for by big tech, those big tech companies.
This week was a very interesting week. I actually put out this piece about a little bit about my time at the Teamsters, but also just sharing some opinion about Sean O'Brien and his decision not to endorse a candidate for the 2024 presidential election between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump. This is a topic that's been really hot right now. A lot of people have been sharing their opinions on it. And, we have a big list, over 20,000 people that includes local union presidents, Central Labor Council, leadership, just regular union supporters. We have international presidents of unions. And we have tech people. We have all kinds of people who organize unions, things like that. So it's always interesting to see what kind of feedback we're going to get when we put a piece out. And this particular piece, I don't really like to do stuff around the election, honestly, because I think it's like a very temporary state of mind. But the benefit of doing something around this is that everybody's paying attention. And, I think about union stuff pretty much every day. But, what I put out was first just sort of a think piece about what does the inside of the Teamsters look like in terms of how do things work. A lot of people don't understand that locals almost operate in autonomy to some degree, for the most part. And some locals have really great, really close relationships with the international or the headquarters, some not so close for historical reasons. But the Teamsters is one of the most interesting unions. And, I worked there for a long time, I think maybe 7-8 years. I was in the organizing department. I was in the training and development department. And, so when I wrote this piece, I got a lot of emails from people. Some people were pissed off that, the Teamsters didn't endorse Trump. Some people were pissed off that the Teamsters didn't endorse Kamala. I didn't really hear anybody that I can remember say they were cool with the Teamsters not endorsing. That's the funny thing. But what's happened since then is I actually had our team put together a poll, and we asked people this here. And then also the president of the Teamsters went onto a podcast and talked about not only this, but a bunch of different stuff. So we're actually going to review that conversation after this. But first, I just want to look at this poll and talk about this for a second, because I think it's interesting. So our list is over 20,000. Like I said, about 416 people voted in this poll. And this was just our email list, but we also put it on our social media and stuff like that. And so out of 416 votes, 76.44% or 318 people say, yes, the Teamsters should have endorsed. And I think that's very interesting. A lot of people made a big deal about the fact that, Teamsters haven't endorsed a Republican since I think 92, or, since 92. It's been every election, it's been a Democrat that they've endorsed. So this is a de facto win for President Trump, as they see it. I also pointed out, though, in my article that, the Teamsters typically fund both Republican and Democratic candidates. I don't know if people realize that. And then there's like I don't want to say a divide. I'll just say that there's a cultural diversity within the Teamsters where there's conservative people there, there's progressive people there, there's far left people there. Are there far right wing people? I don't know. I'm not going to comment on that, but I don't know enough to say that. But I'll just say that I think it's a really good union, because when I was there, I learned a lot about organizing. And that's the thing that the Teamsters really specialize in, is powerful organizing. And at a mass scale, in a way that most unions either don't know how to do or don't care to do. And that's not a diss to other unions. That's sort of a longer conversation, but the practice of organizing, using technology to do it, the Teamsters are, I think, the best in the business at that. Now, other unions are great at other things, but negotiating, organizing, those are real specialties of the Teamsters. I can only speak for where I've worked. I've also been a union president, so I have my perspective. I learned what I learned there. So anyway, so that's that. That's the poll that we did. The poll is closed, but we'll be doing more polls like this. So I'm going to actually now share with you the video I was talking about. Just a second here. All right. So this is the interview with Sean O'Brien, current president of Teamsters, and we're going to hear what he has to say about their decision not to endorse and, whatever else is a part of that conversation.
These politicians, both sides, Democrats and Republicans, and I'll be honest with you, I'm a Democrat, but they have f***ed us over for the last 40 years. And for once, and not all of them, but for once, we're standing up as a union, probably the only one right now, saying, what the f*** have you done for us?
Yeah.
And I'm getting attacked from the left, and we've given, since I've been in office 2.5 years.
And I have to stop this every now and then just for fair use. YouTube has rules about content. So if you think I'm talking too much, you should understand why I'm interrupting. By the way, this is a very interesting t-shirt that President O'Brien has on. Teamsters versus everybody. That's a very Detroit type of thing. And he is from actually Boston. He was first president of a Boston local in the Teamsters, and fairly recently became president of the Teamsters after James P. Hoffa, the son of Jimmy Hoffa, stepped down a couple years ago. I like this t-shirt, particularly because it has the Teamster logo on the side. But anyway, let's keep going.
We've given the Democratic machine $15.7 million. We've given Republicans about 340,000, truth be told. So it's like,
that's what I was saying, that the labor movement, well, I don't know about the rest of the labor movement, but I know because I have friends in the political side at the Teamsters that there's really big checks given to Democrats, but there's also money given to the Republicans. But I think what he's saying here is that they don't give checks that are as big to the Republicans.
Like, people say the Democratic Party is the party of the working people. They're bought and paid for by big tech. Those big tech companies.
Yeah, tech is the new fossil fuel, man.
Right?
That's what I say.
Right. And you've got the Republicans who are now saying, hey, we want to be the working class party, right? And okay, you've got a great opportunity right now to do that. And the Democrats, if 60% of our members aren't supporting you, the system's broken.
Bought and paid for. I think that's an interesting phrase because every politician takes money. Let's be real about it. Every politician takes money. And if the definition of being bought and paid for is taking money, then yeah, all politicians are bought and paid for. That's what lobbying is. And, the Teamsters International is based on Capitol Hill. They're there because of the power that being there on Capitol Hill holds. It's, lobbying is the reason why a lot of things don't get done in the United States. If you understand how that system works. But the difference is that labor doesn't have as much money as corporations do to spend on lobbying. It's like billions of dollars versus hundreds of millions of dollars. And not saying that the unions don't have billions, but like corporations have a lot more than labor does. But yeah, he's going pretty hard.
And you need to fix it. Stop pointing fingers at Sean O'Brien. Stop pointing fingers at the Teamsters Union. Look in the mirror. I mean, I had a heated discussion 2 weeks ago with Chuck Schumer, and it got fucking ugly.
Chuck Schumer is a piece of shit,
and it got ugly because these.
Wow, that was that was intense.
Politicians, the one thing I've learned, they fucking walk in and they tell you, "I did this for you." Okay, great. Let me tell you what you haven't fucking done for us or our members. And we got into it pretty heavy. And I'm like, you had no problem taking $550,000 from me 3 weeks prior to me going on the Republican National Convention, and then you want to be a fucking tough guy.
Yeah, people don't like that he went to the Republican National Convention. You know, I think a lot of the emails I got back were talking about in reaction to the article that I wrote, were angry that he went to the RNC. They were angry that Kamala didn't get the endorsement. Most of them were angry that Kamala didn't get the endorsement because of the American Rescue Act that helped save the Teamsters pension. The Teamsters pension fund. And don't get me wrong on this. I'm probably gonna pick the wrong one. I think it was the Central States was in big trouble, and the Democrats, particularly Kamala Harris, because she broke the vote, the tie vote. You know, they during the 2020, during the pandemic, she broke the tie vote, and that money really helped the Teamsters. So a lot of people are really angry about that. In addition to, they talked about the Butch Lewis Act as well by Sherrod Brown, saved the pensions of nearly 530 members of the Teamsters Local 73 pension plan. The pension plan will receive $7.5 million in pension restoration funding from the. And just so you can see what I'm reading, I'm actually reading the article that I wrote, Trump and Kamala Teamsters non-endorsement and organizing strategy. So I actually ended the article. This is on unionbase.org, by the way. I actually ended the article by adding these updates because people were like, hey, you got to mention these things. So an earlier version of this article mentioned that the Teamsters 856 and other locals did endorse Kamala, right? As well as the Teamsters Black Caucus. And then there's other reasons why people are saying that the Teamsters should have endorsed Kamala. So just for context.